All right, my friends, welcome to episode 127 of Prof and Dev Play Games. If you're listening on Spotify, welcome. We're happy to have you in our audience. I'm the professor at Prof Plays Games, and over there is Anthony, the dev at Summer Speak. You had no power last night, so we're recording tonight.
No power. It came back about just after midnight.
Oh, really?
But basically from 5:30 p.m. to midnight, no power. So
we should have stayed up till midnight to record?
Oh, no. I'd already committed to going to bed at that point. I mean, it came on about 5 minutes after I'd gone to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, I'm not getting back up. I've committed to my choice. Because I had other things that I was hoping to do last night after recording.
Right. Me too, actually. So it kind of worked out for me.
And I was like, never mind. I won't stay up till super late. I can sleep. Tonight I can stay up super late.
Yeah. You sent me a picture of a pot of potatoes on a wood stove.
Yeah.
We have a wood stove.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
We had a roast going all day, which is fine. It was done by the time the power went out, but we had to make sides.
Right.
So this is not the first time that we've used our wood stove as an actual place to make food. So
that's pretty cool.
I guess that's the benefit of a wood stove.
Yeah. Nice and hot on top.
Yeah, and keeps the house warm.
Yeah.
So it's not like we were freezing or anything.
I grew up with a wood stove. I really like wood stoves.
Yeah.
But I do not have one here.
When would you ever use it?
In San Diego? Never.
Yeah, pretty much.
Every once in a while we turn the heater on, like in December, but that's about it.
For a day.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so this is episode 127. This episode we're going to talk about something that's making Anthony really pissed off, and then we're going to talk about Chrono Trigger, and then we're going to talk about what we're playing. So let's start off with what's making Anthony pissed off.
All right, so was it Friday? I think it was Friday. I wake up and I see that there's actually an update on Twitter from a company called Night Dive. And I was like, oh, that's weird. It's an update on the System Shock, not reboot, remaster that they kickstarted. I'm like, oh, finally getting some good news on that. Yeah, the update is not good news. I did not back this, but I was looking forward to it. I didn't really see a reason for me to back it. There was nothing that they were offering during the Kickstarter that was like, oh, I need this now, or anything like that. And really, I was self-employed, and I didn't feel like spending money on Kickstarters. So that made my decision easy. But this update hits, and it's basically, to paraphrase the whole thing, they fucked up, spent all their money not actually making the game that they promised, feature creeping it to death, and now they can't finish it. They
spent $1.3 million on just building out systems, basically.
Kind of. It just sounds like they just hit a point and they lost. They don't have the game is not done. The team is taking a hiatus. I put hiatus in quotes because Night Dive is another company that they do other things. They've done like modern day ports of older games just to get them running on Steam and good old games. Great, and I think that's making them money. But they basically laid off all their contractors that they had working on the System Shock remaster.
Mm-hmm.
By hiatus, this is like work has stopped except for a very core team, which in the game industry, it's like if you're not going to pay people, they're not going to be around to work on it whenever you might get back to it.
Right, so they're off looking for their jobs.
That's the part that actually angers me the most, is fuck that team over completely. Because whoever's in management there and making the choice couldn't make the hard calls of like, this needs to be in the remaster or this is feature creep and should not be there. They even put a demo out during the Kickstarter, like a demo level that basically showed what they were wanting to do with the game.
Mm-hmm.
People gave that the thumbs up. They didn't give the thumbs up for this crazy new features and changing the game or anything like that. So it made people pretty angry. It makes me angry just on the way that it just does ill will to developers overall and developers that kickstart games. Like, it's just another story in that. Never kickstart. Don't fund people like this. They'll just leave you disappointed.
Yeah, as someone who uses Kickstarter really infrequently, it makes me not want to kickstart anything because there's no guarantee of anything, right? That money, they could just walk away with the money. Like, there's I kickstarted a game like 4 years ago for the Wii U, and it's still not out yet. They keep putting updates out, but like the Wii U's dead, folks. Like this game ain't coming out.
Yeah, I mean, there's been lawsuits against that have been won. There was a board game guy from Portland
mm-hmm.
who Who sued him? I think it was the Washington Attorney General sued him because basically it took everyone's money and they could show that they never actually intended to release the board game.
So they were basically just stealing people's money.
Yeah, and so he went to court, basically bankrupted the guy, and I don't know how much of anyone got their money back, but basically was like, yeah, you don't get to do this and keep the money.
Right.
So there is laws and there's precedent now of if you take a Kickstarter thing like this and you do not either A, deliver the product or refund everyone that wants refunds their money, you're liable for legal action against you.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's just something I've never understood about Kickstarter. The way that they drafted the whole premise is just built on trust. Like we trust that you'll put something out eventually. But thinking back to it, I probably Kickstarted 6 things, and I've probably 33% I have not gotten. So 2 out of 6 were things that I never received. So that's a pretty high failure rate, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think I've received everything that I've backed. Or I'm going to. It's coming.
Yeah.
There's one thing, right? I think BattleTech is the last thing that I kickstarted that's coming out, and it'll be there eventually, I think.
I got the Deer God. I got Ukulele and 2 other non-gaming things. But then 2 things I didn't get were one was a movie and one was gaming.
Oh, and I have 2 outstanding things because bunch of board games. Got that. Chaos Reborn, Amplitude, got that. Got some miniatures game, got Shadowrun Hong Kong, and all my Shadowrun stuff that I backed. War Machine Tactics, Torment, Tides of Numenera, got that. No, I've gotten everything. First thing I ever backed was Faster Than Light.
FTL?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
First thing I ever backed.
Did you see their new game?
I did. It's coming out this week.
Yeah, I think it's this week. It looks really good.
It does. I watched some videos of it, actually, and it does look pretty tactics puzzle game, kind of. There's definitely more puzzle elements to it than I was expecting.
Right.
And good for them. They were very successful with FTL, even after they took people's money. They made a game, released it, did very well, and now, they didn't ask for anyone's money again.
That's the thing that drives me nuts the most is people who successfully kickstart, and then they're like, we're back to kickstart again. You already got kickstarted. Your whole business was kickstarted. Don't you reinvest that money into your next project? It just at that point it seems like begging.
Yeah. So it just with the Night Dive thing, it just really, as a developer, it bugs me. It bugs me to break people the trust in your audience so badly, and then how much you just screw the team over for it too. Both sides. And just how mismanaged do you have to be to waste $1.3 million?
Pretty bad. I mean, I guess Trump does that a lot, but he's a special breed of human. But $1.3 million to just piss away, just basically.
I'm sure they were making something, but did anyone scope the cost? What needed to be done? You have a budget, 1.3. Kickstarter takes their cut, so you have, let's just say, with credit card failure rates, anything like that, they had $1 million. Unless the company was going to put more on top of it itself, that's your budget. Scope to that budget.
Well, yeah, I was thinking what's the burn rate for that studio if they're already out of $1 million? That seems pretty high.
It does. They went through $1 million in a year and a half.
Yeah,
something like that.
Well, good. Schreier was talking about in his book, the burn rate at studios is something like $10,000 a day. For AAA studios.
Yeah, I mean, but those teams are way bigger.
That's what I'm talking about. So on
smaller average,
team,
a complete average that I always just throw up in my head is one employee. The average for one employee yearly salary is $100K.
Yeah.
Because you'll definitely have people paid a lot lower than that, and some people paid higher than that. So
okay, so that's basically
100 is where I feel like the 100K a year is kind of where the average for in-game development is.
So then that's easy to burn through $1 million in less than a year.
Yeah, if your team's big.
Yeah.
Your team shouldn't be big. You got to scope for the money that you have.
Well, it's just that's a team of 10 people, right?
Yeah, 10 people.
Yeah.
For a year.
My math right? Yeah. Okay. For even just 10 months, right? 10 people for 10 months.
Yeah.
That's
10 people for a year. It's a year.
Right, but
it's $100,000 a year.
Right. $100,000 per person for the year. I got it. Yeah.
You got the maths. You can do it.
I got it. I just figured it out.
But still, I mean, and if that's not enough, then you should have scoped your Kickstarter more.
Yeah.
Higher. Like, let's be honest. Although I don't know what they wanted it originally at. Clearly the company itself was also funding part of this, but
yeah.
Part of the update was they were trying to talk to different publishers to get funding to make it, and they couldn't get any investment because all the people, like investors, were like, we don't see how you're going to make your money back. We're going to make any kind of profit on this. So That's a big red flag.
Well, and did they have to buy the rights to System Shock, or
I believe they did, but they might have already owned that. System Shock and like System Shock 2, the rights are really weird. Because they were owned by Looking Glass, and then that folded. Like, I do know it took forever for System Shock 2 to ever show up on Steam or Good Old Games, and this is the company that got it there, is because they just had to fight through a lot of legal stuff, and not even like legal stuff if people don't want to give it up. It's companies that just don't even want to take the time to know if they own it or not.
Because it's not worth anything to them.
Yeah, it's just sitting. It got sold so many times in different like. Closeout as Looking Glass sold in different companies, sold assets. Like, no one exactly knew who owned it. And the company that they originally like finally found that owned it has to at least check their records to make sure they own it. This company was trying to do to re-release an older game called No One Lives Forever, a shooter that's really good, and they got very, very close, but it was a thing between, I think it was Activision and EA.
Oh.
And neither they both, because of how companies had sold, both one owned the IP and one owned the trademark. Like basically it was split a little bit between the companies, but neither one of those companies would take the time to have someone figure out what they owned of it. So it just stopped, like any chance of that. So one of those companies,
ROI was so low.
Yeah, one of those companies owns the game or the property.
Right.
You don't know who, because none of them actually care to find out.
Right. That's crazy when you've purchased so many IPs, so many properties that you don't care about the small ones at all.
No, you're like, we don't know if we own it. Doesn't matter to us, and it's more expensive to have our lawyer. We don't want to even spend the money for our lawyers or a legal intern to look through the boxes of paperwork to see if we do.
Right. I wonder what else is hidden there that they own that they don't care to find out about, but is probably pretty valuable. That's interesting. I guess they probably know the valuable things, but like what games are being left to the dustbin of history because these huge conglomerates are just too busy or making too much money to care.
It's true. I don't know. At some point, there's so much turnover at big companies like that. It's not shocking that things just get left in boxes or digital boxes, really. Yeah, and like no one knows. Like
the institutional memory,
is gone.
Is just gone. Yeah, exactly.
So, I don't know. This Night Dive thing really bugged me a lot, and just makes me feel like, I'm sure anyone who backed it is just like, give me my money back now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, but we can't because we don't have it anymore.
Right. Especially the people, like when I get burned for like $20, I'm like, well, that sucks. But people who put in like $500 for whatever tier, that's really crappy.
It is. It is such a shitty situation, and it just another thing where people can point out that don't back things on Kickstarter. So there goes another way that you can try to fund yourself.
I feel like with each one of these stories, people just refine their parameters. Like, I'm only going to fund like people that I really know, or like proof of concept that's really, really well done. And this, like you said, had a really nice demo. So even that now the bar is higher.
Yeah, you're like, oh, you had a demo, because that's a good thing. It was like the first level of System Shock redone in this, what they were hoping for it to look like and play like. And I played it and I was like, that's pretty cool. It works. Well, guess that doesn't matter anymore.
Right. Yeah. And this studio is probably doing a bunch of port work or doing other things. There's, the core team is doing other things now. And
yeah, I'm sure.
But has solely their name, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Like this. I'm like, will it ever come out? At this point, I'm not going to bet that this thing will ever see the light of day.
Well, yeah, This is such a huge setback. That seems unlikely if they've spent all that money and have basically nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
there's a moral here.
Yeah.
Be careful about backing stuff on Kickstarter, like you've always said. So.
Yeah, be very careful. And honestly, it's probably hard for people who aren't very knowledgeable of the industry to know what to look for and what are red flags. Like, and this one doesn't have a lot of red flags, honestly.
Right.
Like, you're remastering an older game. Cool. You showed me a demo that shows what the look and how it would play remastered. Cool. You're asking for 900K. Okay. If it looks like this and you made that first level, okay, that seems reasonable to get this done in not the longest time, because they said they would ship in December 2017.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we are. Whoops.
Yep, months past that. Like, it's just those things. Like, there's not a huge amount of red flags on this one at all. Yeah, you're just like, okay, but that can even be mismanaged. But I don't know. Like, the things that usually are my red flags are no actual in-game pictures.
Right.
If it's all just concept art, yeah, don't back that. If they don't have clear design, like, don't back it. If they're asking super small amount of money, if they're asking like $25,000 for this giant 3D looking pretty game, yeah, no way in hell. Like,
that's not gonna happen for that budget.
Step away from that very slowly. These people are delusional, thinking that they'll get anything like that done in any reasonable amount of time. Oh yeah, and if like their ship date is like 6 months after the Kickstarter, yeah, no.
Well, think about like big failures like Mighty Number 9.
Yeah.
That had. I mean, I didn't particularly find myself impressed with the Kickstarter for that game to want to fund it at all. But Inafune is a big name, and there's a lot of I guess it's nostalgia. Like, people who are playing on people's nostalgia. Like, people see like Yooka-Laylee or even Bloodstained. Like, oh, I really want this because I used to play it and I want to see it again. So that kind of, I think, clouds people's. It can, and like, again, judgment. You have a good. You have Inafune, like, you have these big name people, and they're doing this, so you're like, cool, like, they know how to do this, right? Right?
Right? Like, and you realize, no, they don't. Completely.
And then Inafune went back to do another one for Red Ash, and people were like, no.
No, I mean, you burn people once, you probably never get to do this again.
Yeah, exactly. I guess we'll see what Bloodstain comes out to be from Igarashi.
I still want that thing to come out.
So do I. I'm morbidly curious if it's going to end up like Mighty Number 9.
That's true. I haven't looked anytime recently. Have they updated anything?
I've heard a couple updates through Kind of Funny Games, so I think that it's infrequent updates are still happening.
Well, I know that weren't they switching the Wii U to Switch?
Yes. Yep.
They said they were going to ship in March of 2017.
March of 17?
Yeah, was what the Kickstarter said was the ship date.
We're a little past that.
Yeah, we're about a year out.
I don't know, the only thing I want to see from Castlevania now is Simon Belmont in Smash Brothers, so I guess that's...
Hey, we're also going to get some more Castlevania anime here in the next month or two.
Oh, is the next season coming out?
Yeah, the next chunk of episodes is going to land soon.
That first one was so good, man.
It was. I'm like, give me more. I'm pretty excited to have some more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like the most recent Castlevania thing that's been any good. So I want more of that. If that's all we get from now on, that's fine. It's pretty good. Yeah. Speaking of pretty good, you and I are continuing our trek through Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
We finished the future track, basically. Yeah.
This is the furthest you've ever been, right?
This is the furthest I've ever been. Yep, I always get stopped like right at the beginning of the future. Like, I never did the jet bike thing, for example.
Yeah.
Something about the future part just like didn't really interest me, but this time I was well interested. So. And
it's definitely a longer section than that first part.
Oh yeah.
Like, this is like a meaty section of the game where you're like, it in itself is as long as the fair, past, and trial aspects.
Yeah, I had 2 hours for our first, getting into the future, and then in the future I had like 3 hours and 10 minutes or something like that.
Oh wow!
So I dug around, looked around different places. Yeah, I only had one game over, so it wasn't like I kept restarting, and that was just because I was mismanaging my health. I was just poking around and looking at different places. So you would you kind of recap the plot, I guess, for the future for our audience?
All right. So we ended last time? We had escaped prison in modern day, or Chrono's modern day, with Marl, the princess, and Luca into another time rift, and it took us to this rundown apocalyptic future with like these big domes everywhere. And you pop out there, and I think the first place you typically go is south to a dome where you see a bunch of people in ratty clothing, like the remnants of humanity after some tragedy. You don't know what's going on. And you start your trek between people talking about, you start your trek east in the wasteland, the ruins of civilization, eventually finding another band of humans in a different dome. And when do you piece together what's happened in the future?
I thought it was in that first dome where they were talking about not having food.
They don't have food. I don't think they tell, like, there's a catastrophe. You don't know exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. And then you go to the second dome. And right. And like you have to, and of course this dome, they're like, people from the west have come here. I can't believe it. You made it through the ruins, and they ask you to go down into the basement of the dome that they're in, and find out why their supplies are running low. Like what's going on with the food.
And before that, wasn't there one of the domes you went into and watched a video where you saw Lavos?
Yes, and that's the thing. I just don't know if it was before that.
I think it was before you went down.
But basically, you learn that this being called Lavos raised up from under the ground and like rained down death and destruction on this very utopian future, leaving it in this state of destruction. So really, mostly the future is you just wandering through this wasteland trying to figure out, like, helping people where you can, but really just trying to find your way back to a better time and what if this can be averted somehow.
Yeah, because in the computer system, you are shown where the time rift is. Like Luca finds that time rift is in one of the protodome, I think.
Yep. And I say you have to do the jet bike race. Did you win?
Yeah. Yeah, I just saved my boost toward the end.
Yeah, basically. That's all you need to do. Are you still enjoying the combat?
I love the combat. Like, when you explain some of the strategery, quote unquote, to the battles, and I figured out the pausing a little better. I really enjoy the battles. I kind of go out of my way to find battles, even the little rote ones, just because I like it. And
they tend to go pretty fast.
They do.
And really, it's worthwhile to level up.
It certainly is.
So let's see. You come through that final dome. Oh, there's a door in the protodome that you can't get through. Like, you don't know the passcode or.
Right.
You have to then go into the factory to the north.
Yep.
And you find a derelict robot.
This is the character you were talking about last week.
It is the character. I have a big portrait of this character on my wall in my office. This is Robo, or.
In my game, he's called Wally, because I think Robo's a dumb name.
It's not a dumb name. Blasphemy.
Wally's not much better, but...
Robo, who has been basically run down, powered down before the catastrophe, and Luca powers him back on, and he helps you go into the factory and find the codes that you need so that you can get into the time rift. In through the door into the time rift.
I like the part of the factory where you discover how to use the crane arms, but you don't know that they're crane arms, and you go in there and you're like, okay, I think I can use that here, and then you input the code, and it like moves things out of your path.
Yeah.
It was like a smart puzzle that wasn't. I didn't feel like it was leading you by the hand so much. It was just like, here's some information, see if you can figure out how to use it.
Yeah, I honestly feel like the game is pretty good about that, and it's a part of its time too. Like, I think I sent you this game, how it leads you to things, and would never fly today.
Because it's too not clear enough, or
basically. I can definitely see the closest I would get is, honestly, in some ways, Breath of the Wild is refreshing in that way, but Breath of the Wild has much stronger visual design to guide you.
Right.
They're still guiding you. They're just not doing it verbally, but where I feel like this game, being a sprite-based game, pixel art of that time, they don't get the best use of their art sometimes.
Well, and I found that to be particularly true in that factory you're talking about.
Yeah.
No. In the sewers, the abandoned sewers, where you have to go between the tall buildings, basically.
Yeah.
Or and you can't see where to go, and you kind of have to guess where to go, which wasn't too big of a deal. But if you we're looking for a visual cue about where to go, you don't really see it. You just have to guess. Like, I'll just push myself. Your character is hidden behind the building, and you have to figure out how to walk behind it.
Yeah, which is just pretty standard for that day and age. But yeah, you get Robo, you get to that factory. I still forget how much I was actually worried that Robo was going to be just straight up destroyed.
When he gets jumped by the 6 robots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it gets shoved in the chute, and you're like, oh, that might be it for him.
Well, and then it's 2 on 6 at that point. And
yeah. It might be done for you, but you have techs. You can use techs and go crazy.
Right. Yeah, no, I didn't find that fight to be too difficult.
No.
And, because you had told me that he was your favorite character, I thought that he's not dead.
No, but after you do the factory and get back to the time rift, Robo gets repaired. You then think that you're going to go back to your time.
Yeah, I
did. But you end up in the end of time.
Which is, there's this guy under a light pole, and it's kind of like this place where you can access all different parts of time, basically. But you also, there's a place to restore your HP and MP and save, and then there's a bucket that you can go into and go fight the end boss, Lavos.
Yep.
When you did that, how far did you get?
Not that far.
Okay.
I didn't fight it this time, so
yeah.
A decade ago when I played, I did it one time, and it was like, that's the end boss. I am not ready to do this, so...
I wonder how many forms he has, because I got to the 5th... I spent like over 20 minutes fighting this guy, and I just kept healing, kept attacking, and it basically takes the forms of all the bosses in the game that you've played. Yep. But at that point, we haven't played all of them. There are 2 of them that we've played, so I knew their mechanics, but there are 3 that I haven't seen yet, so I had to guess at their mechanics. But just the 5th form, his attack was just way too strong. It would just take me out in one hit.
So you're there. You can see the final boss. You can fight the final boss. Right now, you see the portals to different times that you can access. I will say that there's going to be more of those portals.
Right. There should be 5 at the end, I guess, right?
Yeah, there's definitely a couple more.
Yeah.
They do, like, why do you show up there? It's because you're trying to travel with 4 people. You can only travel with 3.
I like that. They're like, basically the game designer's like, we want you to have a party of 3. How do we make that make sense narratively? Okay, you can't travel in time with more than 3.
It disrupts things, and you end up at the end of time.
Of course it does.
Exactly. Hand waves.
Speaking of the party, who's your party? Like, who's your favorite party?
Favorite party?
Yeah.
Right now, I'm not using Robo right now.
Oh, interesting.
He's very slow.
Yeah.
I like him from a story standpoint. So this is going to be where the game kind of gets a little bit different. We know what we have to do next, as we've been told. Go back to our own time, talk to people we know there. But the game starts becoming I wouldn't say, if I remember right, a bit more freeform.
Mm-hmm.
And that there's just quests you can do. And there's a really cool quest with Robo, which is my painting is of Robo on this quest.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember right, there's just a lot of stuff you can do in kind of the order of your choosing around progressing the main story.
Because I went into the main story, and I went back to 1000 AD, and when I go back to our world, basically, or our time, the fiends are everywhere.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the next spot, basically. Then,
yeah,
right?
I mean, it tells you to go there. You'll do that, but then you'll start seeing that there's just... Because there are a lot more companions to get.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of them there's a bunch of different quests that they can all do.
Right.
And you can do different things with different companions at different times. There's doors that have been sealed. I'm sure you've come across.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're open in specific times, or if you do things specific, like you do things in the past to affect future timelines.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get into certain doors and things like that. The game becomes... We have now hit the point where the game opens. Right. And now you know what the game is.
Well, for me, my party is Marl, Chrono, and Robo right now. And we didn't talk about the Speku guy, or whatever his name was, that you had to walk clockwise around his room 3 times.
Oh, God.
Which took me...
That stupid freaking thing.
Too long to do. But when you do it, you get some nice magic.
Straight up magic now.
Yeah.
Which is useful.
Very useful. That's what helped me with my fight against Lavos.
I think I'm using... Well, if I go back, I'll probably use Robo right now. It'll be Marl, Chrono, Robo, probably.
Yeah, that's what I'm using.
Just for now. Yeah, I need the heals. But there's definitely one, like, I think I need to get a little bit farther to get a couple more characters.
Is there a Fiona in this game?
Is there? I can't remember.
Oh, okay. I thought I assume we're getting Frog again eventually.
Yeah, you should assume that is going to happen. Frog is really good.
Too good of a character to only have us in the beginning.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's I think I tend to stick, if I can, Chrono and Luca together seems like a lot of fun always. Mm-hmm. Their techs are just a ton of fun together.
Yeah. I love the part,
but it's
fire
really
swirl.
Good to work mix and match characters because there's all the different techs.
Right.
And like leveling them up together to unlock different techs. That's where the depth of the game comes from its combat system. Like finding all these combinations.
So much variety to the game that just makes it fun.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of drives me nuts when they limit your party because I want to have everybody, but by making those choices, it makes things more meaningful.
Yeah, you have to make
interesting.
I'm trying to see if there's a Fiona. There's no Fiona in here.
No, I don't know where Fiona came from.
Chrono. Anyway, we've met 4 of the 7.
Okay.
We have 4 of the 7, and you're right. Frog is 1, so there's 5.
So there's 2 more. Okay.
Yep. There's 2 more. In my big save file that's like 50 hours in, I had all
50 hours?
I'm pretty sure it was like...
Wow.
It was
I thought you're level 50.
Oh, I guess it is level 50. Yeah, I didn't check the hour time, but...
I think to beat the game is like 25 hours, and then completionist, of course, is...
Oh, right. Right. That's... You have a character from one other time zone. Yeah, there's definitely one time zone we haven't been to. I remember that. Yep.
Is there a dinosaur time zone?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a character in there that you'll get.
Right. Did you ever play Chrono Cross?
I barely remember. I had it at some point, but I can't find the PS1 discs anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It had an amazing soundtrack. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
I was in college. I didn't get to play it in college.
I remember Greg playing, watching Greg play Chrono Cross, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. That came out when we were in college.
Yeah, it was college. He was playing it. Which is weird because I have memories of watching you play games and watching Travis play games, but not really watching Greg play. But he was obsessed with this game for some reason, because it's good, I guess. But
I mean, it is. I mean, Chrono Cross has a 94% Metacritic.
Dang.
It's not a direct sequel, though.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like
the Final Fantasies, basically.
It's a successor to Chrono Trigger, not a direct sequel. But it has the same. It's trying to do the similar things with more active combat and I don't know, different time frames, worlds, things like that.
Was that game ever made available on other platforms?
I don't think so. Actually, I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now. It's only ever been out for the PlayStation.
That's so weird. I mean, same thing with Chrono Trigger. Basically, it's Super Nintendo and then DS, and I think that's it. No. There was a PS1 version.
There's a PS1. Yeah.
People hate that version.
Although the DS version keeps the cutscenes.
Yeah.
From the PlayStation one.
Mm-hmm.
Your DBZ animated cutscenes.
That's what it looks like.
Because they're animated by the same dude that did DBZ.
That makes sense. I'm why does he look like Goku?
Yep.
They're very short cutscenes, but it was interesting. Also, the DS added that monster hunter, not hunter, Pokemon kind of thing, where you have a monster and you're training them to fight other monsters.
Monster Hunter is a different thing.
Not Monster Hunter. Wait, we will get to that. Or did you play that this week?
Maybe a little bit.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah. So that's Chrono Trigger. Next week we're trying to
2 more hours. We'll figure out
where that takes us. Yeah.
Yeah. In general, trying to play 2 hours roughly.
Right. Exactly.
So,
that's right. Okay.
Maybe I'll follow you this time because of what I'm playing.
Oh my god, tell me what you're playing. I want to hear. I'm going to live vicariously through you.
So, I have amazing friends who, what night would it have been? It would have been Friday, Friday during the day. And they're like, so if a copy of Monster Hunter just showed up at your door, would you play it?
Yeah, I would.
I'm like, yeah, of course, if it showed up. They're like, then 20 minutes later, actually, shipping was annoying, so here's a code.
Oh my god, dude, that's awesome.
So we just want, and the exact reason for them, there's like, we really just want you to be playing this and playing with us. So here's the game, play, please.
Damn, that's awesome.
So yes, I have amazing friends who I really don't deserve. So yeah, I have Monster Hunter World, and I started playing Friday. Holy shit!
Do you like it?
Good.
Really? People, that's what everyone's saying, man.
I cannot. I mean, you have to deal with a lot of bullshit, a lot of menu bullshit.
Yeah.
And weird obfuscation, and like there's so much going on. But the actual just hunting the monsters, oh, it's sublime. Like,
so you're on PS4 then, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, it's good. It's really, really fun. The loop is incredible. The strange thing is, I give it a bunch of crap for like how stuff is hidden and how much is there.
Yeah.
But from the time that I played some of Generations, oh my god, do they improve the systems over Generations and like older Monster Hunters.
Yeah.
They definitely streamline things a bit on the, like, you don't have to be carrying around pickaxes and shovels and stuff that break to actually like collect things in the world.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
You can just run around and do it while you're, doing hunting like you want to be doing. Yeah, it's just like very nice things there. You get all the weapons up front, so you have at the start of the game in your little box, you can switch out to any of the 14 weapons, and they all play differently.
What are you playing as?
For this weekend, I was doing a lot of sword and shield.
Oh, okay.
Just starting at the basic. I tried a couple. I tried dual blades, and I tried greatsword or greatswords. But there's just something about the sword and shield. I like the speed and mobility of it.
Yeah.
There's a versatility. It's not as flashy as other things, but it's worked out pretty well. But I've been tending to do some solo stuff because just getting through story quests and getting to certain places. But most nights I've been playing with my two other friends, and we made a squad, which is kind of like a guild. I guess it is exactly like a guild, but you can be part of mini squads.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start the game and I load my character, it asks you, do you want to start a new online session, join an online session, or join your squad session? And now that I have a squad, I just join my squad session. Even if no one else is on, it's our own personal game.
So there's no one else in there at all if you're on by yourself?
No one will get randomly put into that session.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's only people in the squad can be there, and it's 16 people can be in a squad. And up to 4 people can go on hunts together.
Right.
So kind of there's some weirdness on like when you can join people's hunts for story missions.
And getting through the cutscenes or whatever.
Yeah, you have to get through the cutscenes, and once you get through the cutscenes, there's like a message that appears that says that you could send an SOS flare. At the time you can send SOS flares, that's when your friends can join your hunt and join your game.
It seems convoluted to be able
to play. It is convoluted. It is
Yeah.
definitely. It's weird. Like, that's for storyline stuff. If you just want to go run a mission, non-story thing, you just go to the quest board, say post a new quest, select what you want to do, and then people can just join it. They can go to a quest board and say, I want to join a posted quest, and just join you and go.
Do you think that's something that they're going to patch, like to
No,
make it easier?
I think this is what this game is.
Uh-huh.
I think Monster Hunter World 2 is definitely going to be a thing with this game's sales. So I think they'll improve it for the next one. It's weird because they're trying to be very friendly to soloing the game and playing it solo, while also allowing for multiplayer in like co-op for pretty much anything, and also being somewhat of a light MMO. So it's a little convoluted. Once I understand it, it's not hard for us to group now. Like, it's creating the squad was the most important part. Once you did that, it at least streamlines a couple pieces of it. But man, like, it just feels really good. Like, the fights are intense, but not Bloodborne intense, I guess, or different type. Like, I haven't died in a fight yet, so that's good.
How many hours do you put into it, you think?
Oh, probably still less than 10. My power was out last night, so I think if I had played last night, I would have been over 10.
And you missed the Horizon Zero Dawn Watcher skin for your
I did miss
Palico.
the Watcher skin,
but
I hope that they do that again. But I could hopefully do that. I need to get to. I'm Hunter rank 7 now. I need to get to 11.
Right.
When you're 11, at the end of this month they'll put there's the Aloy armor quest in,
right?
Which I hope to do. My friends have the Watcher skin. I don't know. This game is ridiculous, and I kind of see where all the buzz is about it. Like, the loop is really strong. I would say it's hard with a kid because you can't pause it.
Yeah.
And by pause, like, you just have to be willing to say, well, screw it. I'll just leave my quest right now. Quests aren't long per se. Like, the longest quests I've gone on are 26 minutes.
No, that's pretty good.
I think because the maximum time a quest can go on is 50. Like,
and once you hit 50, then it just kicks you out, right?
Yeah, it kicks you out. Yeah. It's like, you have to finish this in 50.
Yeah, my friend here really wants me to play with him. He's waiting for the PC version, which is later this year.
Yeah, fall.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just, all the positive buzz makes me think that I probably will jump in, but then I think it's not the game to play when I have a kid, and he will play like for 8 hours straight, and I will probably play for like 2 missions. So.
Oh yeah, you could easily play this game for 8 hours, like, and still have stuff to do.
Yeah, seems like
good.
Capcom did a good thing. Yeah,
it's really good, and I'm very curious what the next Monster Hunter for a Nintendo console will be.
Well, because they put out one just before this one. They put out Double Cross, but not in America, I guess. So.
Not in America.
Yeah.
Which is weird to me. But maybe they'll bring over Double Cross to the Switch in the US. That'd be good, because people might want that. Or they'll plan Monster Hunter World 2 on Switch as well.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah, there's a recent quote where Capcom was like, we're not putting Monster Hunter World on Switch.
There's no way this game goes on Switch. Like,
it's not going to run
graphics-wise and everything. No, they set out years ago, long before the Switch was probably ever a possibility, making this game. They're like, oh no, we're targeting PS4 and Xbox One. So buy Switch. We don't get to go down compat to your graphics processor.
Well, and they've been putting out games for a long time that's just been constrained by 3DS tech. So
yeah, and this is probably one of the things that makes this game nicer. Is there's just no, like, once you load into a zone, the map, there's no more like zone loading. Where the 3DS, you always had to load between zones. No, it's just free. Like, the monsters run all over the freaking map.
Right.
And you can have multiple monsters coming at you at the same time. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It seems like Capcom is benefiting also from launching the game basically in a wasteland. There's nothing else out, really.
No, there isn't.
This part of the year.
They won this time of the year, and
absolutely,
they put out a quality product that's just, honestly, it's just a ton of fun to play. We're going to finish recording. I think I have Star Wars Rebels to watch tonight, so that will take me about a half an hour of stuff to watch, and then I'm going to play that probably for the rest of the night.
Awesome.
With my friends, because I'm sure they'll be on.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, I'm glad your friends hooked you with the game.
Yes, it was unexpected, and it is very cool. And I'm sure you'll be hearing more about this game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more so that I can get ready for the fall if I decide to jump in. Anything else you've been playing?
Nope.
All right, me neither. I played Chrono Trigger for about 3 hours, 3.5 hours this week, and that is all the time I had for gaming. So.
Oh wow.
Thank God for mobile gaming, or not mobile, but handheld gaming.
Yeah.
Because that's about it. At night when I'm just so tired, my wife's watching the TV, I'll play for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then it's like I gotta go to bed.
I can imagine.
I think I'll probably hit a little bit of Hearthstone tonight before I go to bed.
Oh, nice.
I want to do a dungeon run. But I need to be in bed by 10 because I'm exhausted.
I can imagine being up for a few hours in the middle of the night does that to you.
Yeah, raising a 7-month-old who's turning 8-month-old very soon. It's rough. It's very rewarding, but we're just getting used to being exhausted.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. You just got to get used to running on like very low amounts of sleep. Like, remember college? But in college it was voluntary.
It was, and I was younger.
Yep.
So, yeah, and I chose when to wake up. Right now, I'm just, I don't know when I'm going to wake up. It could be 11 p.m., it could be 1, it could be 4. So, it's a little crazy. But I'm getting a lot of podcasts listening in. I've just picked up The Adventure Zone and listening through the Amnesty or Amnesia. I don't know if you listened to that arc or not.
No. I mean, I've just listened to an episode here or there just to see what it was, because there's so many actual play podcasts out there.
Oh, yeah.
It's so hard for me to, like, fit them all in.
Yeah, I've just been, like, just pounding them, like one shot and Adventure Zone and Critical Role, basically.
Oh, Critical Role's episodes are really long too.
Yeah, they're 3 to 4 hours. I got our friend Greg. We're doing this new podcast, and he was asking for things that kind of inspired me to think about this podcast. I was like, you should check out Critical Role, and he started Campaign 2, and he's just like, I am in love with this.
Yeah, it's
so
really
spreading
good.
the gospel. Yeah. Oh man, it's so good, this new one.
Yes, spread the gospel of tabletop RPGs.
Are you caught up on Critical Role?
I am not.
Okay.
That's the thing, they're so long. Like,
yeah.
It takes me, I'm still like 2 episodes back, 3 episodes.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm probably 3 now, because I think another one just went up.
Yeah, it's number 6 just went on YouTube, but number 6 is not on podcast yet.
And I usually listen to it through YouTube.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, because that's usually while I'm working for some time. Like, I'll put it up. So, but again, I have so much to listen to.
I mean, podcasts at 1.75 speed is just a godsend.
I could see that.
Yeah, 2 is a little too fast. Like audiobooks, I'll do 3, but that's because the audiobook narrators are so slow. But every podcast are just conversational, so I can't do that fast. But 1.75 on the Overcast app, because the iOS app just is trash now. Overcast is a really good podcast app, and you can there's lots of gradations of speed, and it's really good. So anyway, we're turning into the Critical Role podcast here again. But this has been episode 127 of Prof and Dev Play Games. We are going to continue our Chrono Trigger trek. Again, if you like our show, please rate us wherever you're at, Spotify or iTunes or whatever. And we'll be back next week. Thanks, folks.
Thank you. Night, everyone.
Night.